Y'all, what's up, y'all? Again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great day. Again, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Uh, Trying to figure out how to change the view of this. But again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope you're having a great day. Uh, Trying to fix this screen. Seemed like last time the view was kind of looked different. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. I'm gonna wait for a few people to come in here before I really start what I really want to start as far as the conversation is concerned. Again, appreciate y'all. Hope y'all staying inspired as far as music is concerned. Uh, Social media can kind of distract music creatives. We get kind of influenced by, what people say about songwriting, even music production. It's just so much to talk about. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Also, this channel is slowly growing. 8,400 subscribers. So appreciate y'all for y'all support as always. Supporting this channel. I really want to excuse me. I really want to grow this channel organically, and so I don't really, try to use a lot of promotion and stuff like that. Just try to grow it organically, to get the reach and authenticity and authentic viewers that really want to watch this content. And so again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Uh, Hope y'all having a great day or productive week. As far as music, hope you, got some ideas out this week. As far as your music, it's a lot of, sometimes we can be pressured to songwrite or pressured to produce and do all types of things, and we are not inspired to do them. And I think it has to do with social media as well, because we can often be lured into forcing songs. We can be forced to we see our favorite songwriters or songwriters that has created so many hits and stuff like that, and we can be kind of feel pushed to really create something just out of nowhere. And I'm the type, I have to be very inspired in order to create. I'm not the type to just sit, go down and say I'm gonna write a song. I really gotta be really inspired to create. Unless it's a certain deadline. I gotta have a song. That has happened a lot of times. Somebody want a song from me. Write a song, and of course you have a deadline. Sometimes it depends on what type of project it is. It can be a jingle. It can be a deadline for a certain artist. It can be a deadline that they have as far as music is concerned. But I feel, and what this video is about is quantity over quality. I've seen a few famous, well-known songwriters. That's known for writing hits. I saw a particular one. She was talking about if you haven't written if you haven't written 25 songs in a day, you're not really doing anything. You got to get up to a certain amount of songs a day. People say things like that. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking them. But a lot of people, how you doing, Macklin? How you doing, Noah? No, you're not the only one. There's 6 people in here right now. What's up, Macklin Ross? What's up? But you just got to stay motivated to write. You got to stay motivated to stay consistent in music. But at the same time, you don't want to force ideas. I feel like that's the problem between artists, or I say songwriters and record labels. Uh, a label want to push people to write, and produce. Especially in these days, a lot of artists are forced to create projects. That comes with the music industry. You forced to write, songs, fast and quick, but they come out as mediocre. I miss the times, and I wish I was back in the '90s and the '80s, creating music. Yeah, I make music. I create music. Uh, well, background, for myself, I've created jingles all around the world. Had songs on top iTunes list, top 10 iTunes, and so I got some experience, doing music. Been writing, producing, all genres, most genres, R&B, pop, gospel, and so got a huge experience in music and radio and so forth. And so I just want to share my knowledge. I'm not saying I'm the greatest, or I'm still have goals in music that I want to accomplish before I'm done with music. And so I'm just trying to inspire you guys to uh, be inspired as well as far as music. But going back to what I was saying, quantity over quality, you know, quantity over quality is very important. Quantity, quality over quantity. Excuse me, quality over quantity is very important as far as songwriting and producing. Uh, you think of the older albums, they only had and it was a lot of reasons for it, because they had vinyl, they couldn't fit a whole lot of songs on a record. But at the same time, uh, you know, they had quality with their music. They had quality as far as their music is concerned. They just didn't put anything out there. And I think we gotta view music in that way. We can't uh, limit our creativity. We have to take our time. I think a lot of times we feel like we have to rush music, that we have to push so many songs. We get kind of intimidated by songwriters or producers that say, "Oh, I did like 5 songs a day," and stuff like that. But don't be intimidated by those things. Everybody's process is different. Some people, they only create 1 song a day. you know, some uh some people create 10 songs a day. It depends on your speed. It depends on how you're inspired to create music. It depends on your speed and what you're inspired by. And so I just want to talk about that, because a lot of songwriters and producers, especially songwriters, we can be intimidated by what we see, people saying on YouTube, on Instagram and TikTok. These big songwriters, they say they write 10 songs a day, have 25 songs a week and all this stuff. But just create, be you, create when you feel like you need to create. You're inspired when you're inspired. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and live life and have experiences, or witness experiences, in order to be inspired to create. you know it ain't always have to be you gotta do 5 songs a day. Don't try to set so many I would say records. Some people say, oh, I think I'm gonna write 5 songs today. Just be inspired. If you create 1 song, that's good. 1 song a day. I would start there. But if you don't, you don't want to force music. You don't want to force music. Just saw a video, how Michael Jackson was inspired to create. He just let it flow whenever he felt like it. Maybe, sometimes he'll wake up, you know, late at night, and call his producers. Hey, I got an idea. That's how all, the big hits were created. They just They just was inspired to create when they felt like creating. They didn't just create just because, you know, they was inspired to create. And so I just want to share that with you guys, share that with you guys. And if you watch this later, you have any questions, feel free to uh, feel free to ask your questions in the comments, and I'll be sure to reply as soon as I can. And again, appreciate y'all for watching. All right, peace.